Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Some men follow the rules. Sigma males write them in invisible ink. Here's a little-known fact. Less than 1% of men operate outside the social dominance hierarchy, not as rebels, not as outcasts, but as architects of their own quiet empire. These aren't your typical alphas barking orders or betas waiting to be told what to do. No, Sigma males are the glitch in the social matrix, the unpredictable algorithm that neither submits nor competes. They simply disappear and reappear where it matters most. They're not loud, but their absence echoes. They're not attention seekers, but somehow everyone feels their presence. And while others chase power, Sigmas dismantle it, recode it, and then walk away like nothing happened. And the scariest part? Most people won't even realize they were being outplayed. Today, we're peeling back the layers. 12 secret rules Sigma males live by. Rules so subtle, so brutally effective, they don't just bend the game, they end it quietly. And yes, feel free to clutch your pearls or your ego, because this isn't your motivational quote starter pack. This is the real deal. Now buckle up. And if you're not a Sigma male, at least take notes so you don't get psychologically assassinated by one at the next social gathering. Number 1. They don't escape society, they hack it from the inside. Sigma males don't run from society, they infiltrate it. They don't stand on the outside screaming rebellion or trying to tear the system down. No, they study it, understand it to the bone, and then use it to their advantage without anyone realizing it. While others are busy trying to fit in or fight the rules, the Sigma is already 10 steps ahead, decoding how the rules work so he can bend them silently. That's the real reason why Sigma males seem so untouchable. They don't play by the book, but they know the book better than anyone else. They learn how people move, what they want, what makes them tick, and then they slip between the cracks of social structure, invisible but in control. They're not antisocial. They're strategically selective. They'll attend the office party, they'll nod in meetings, they might even join the group chat, but trust this, they're not there to belong. They're there to observe. They know exactly who's trying too hard, who's hiding something, and who's secretly insecure beneath all the noise. While most people chase validation and status like dogs chasing parked cars, the Sigma male is busy decoding the entire game. He's not interested in applause, he's interested in leverage. That's why his moves are quiet, but always surgical. He'll play nice when needed, but deep down, he knows the world is just a giant behavioral chessboard, and he's not here to play by someone else's strategy. He's crafting his own. That's the real Sigma flex. Not detachment, but mastery without performance. They blend in so well, you'd never suspect they're silently rewriting the script. While alphas wrestle for the crown and betas stand in line, the Sigma has already found the exit, walked out the back door, and bought the entire building. And he did it so smoothly the rest are still arguing about who's in charge. He doesn't announce his moves, and that's exactly what makes him powerful. By the time you realize he was never truly part of the system, he's already leveraged it, outgrown it, and disappeared into a better one he built on his own terms. Number 2. They premorn relationships before they begin. Sigma males don't dive headfirst into relationships like most people. They don't get swept away by excitement or fantasy. Instead, they analyze the situation from the beginning, with logic, distance, and quiet calculation. Before the first deep conversation, before the first kiss, before the first "I miss you," the Sigma male has already scanned the emotional terrain and prepared for the possibility of an ending. It's not that he's negative or cold-hearted, it's that he's a realist. He knows most relationships don't last. People change, feelings shift, expectations grow heavy. So rather than getting caught off guard, the Sigma prepares emotionally before anything even begins. He mentally plays out every possible ending, how it would feel, what it would cost, how he would detach. It's like emotional insurance. He doesn't trust blindly. He inspects the exit doors before he even walks into the room. Because of this, when the connection does fall apart, he doesn't break down. He doesn't beg. He doesn't spiral. His detachment feels ruthless, but that's only because the heartbreak already happened inside his head, long before it happened in real life. While the other person is just starting to feel the pain, the Sigma already processed it weeks or even months ago, quietly, in silence, where no one could see. This pre-mourning isn't emotional avoidance, it's emotional strategy. It's how he protects his freedom and focus. He can love someone and still plan for their absence. He can care deeply and still not be destroyed if they leave. And that's what makes him so hard to read. You'll think everything's fine until one day he's gone. No fights, no big scene, just distance, just silence, just a clean, surgical exit. Most people confuse this with emotional coldness, but it's actually a form of strength. Sigma males refuse to let another person's chaos wreck their inner world. They feel, but only after they've calculated the risk. They open up, but only after they've secured the exit. And when they walk away, it's not out of spite, it's out of design. Because long before you noticed the cracks, he already mourned the ending and made peace with it. Number 3. Loyalty is calculated, not emotional. For Sigma males, loyalty is never an emotional decision. It's a strategic investment. They don't pledge allegiance based on shared memories, sweet words, or long histories. They observe, they assess, and they calculate. Every relationship, whether personal or professional, is measured by value. Mental, emotional, spiritual, or even intellectual. If it grows them, sharpens them, or offers depth, they nurture it. If it drains them, distracts them, or stagnates them, they detach without flinching. This doesn't mean Sigma males are cold, it means they're precise. They know loyalty given blindly turns into self-betrayal. So instead of clinging to people out of nostalgia or guilt, they remain loyal only to what still serves truth, alignment, and growth. If a person shifts, changes direction, or starts playing games, the Sigma doesn't argue, explain, or chase. He simply withdraws, quietly, completely. To others it can feel sudden, even brutal. One day everything seems normal. The next day the Sigma is gone. No emotional outburst, no confrontation, just a void where he used to be. But in his mind, the bond already expired long before he left. He just waited to confirm the loss of value. And once that's clear, there's no turning back. Sigma males don't owe you closure. Not because they're heartless, but because they've learned that people use closure as an excuse to delay consequences. They don't want explanations, they want to be coddled. The Sigma doesn't play that game. He doesn't reward emotional manipulation. He doesn't participate in drawn-out goodbyes. Once he sees the connection has stopped evolving, he exits like it's a business transaction. Fast, clean, final. You won't see a Sigma male begging for loyalty or proving his own. He doesn't do loyalty for loyalty's sake. He does it for alignment, not obligation. And if that alignment fades, so does his presence. No grudge, no revenge, just deletion. He moves on while others are still replaying the past in their heads. Because for him, loyalty isn't about how long someone's been in your life, it's about what they're still bringing to it. If the answer is nothing, then the Sigma doesn't need closure. He just needs space to continue forward, alone if necessary, but always clean, always precise. Number 4. They study your deepest insecurities and say nothing. Sigma males have a unique ability to read people deeply and silently. They don't need you to explain your fears, insecurities, or patterns. They observe your tone, your timing, your silence, your reactions, and they piece everything together with unnerving accuracy. While others might only notice surface-level behaviors, a Sigma studies the underlying cause. He sees through your smiles, your defenses, your performances. He watches how you react when ignored, how you speak when you're nervous, how you overcompensate when you're insecure. But here's the difference. He doesn't call it out. He doesn't tease you for it. He doesn't try to fix you either. He stores it quietly like data, to understand you, to map your emotional structure, and sometimes, yes, for leverage. Not because he wants to manipulate you, but because he knows people are unpredictable, and preparation is power. He knows which buttons exist, but he won't press them, unless he has to. He might never use what he knows, but if the day comes where trust breaks or conflict arises, he's not scrambling for control. He already has it. That's what makes him dangerous. Not because he's aggressive, but because he's prepared, calm, and always 10 steps ahead. This deep insight gives Sigma males an upper hand in nearly every relationship. While others are busy oversharing or trying to impress, the Sigma is collecting information in silence. Your habits, your contradictions, the small things you think no one notices. He notices. He also knows what not to say. That's what makes him so unsettling to some people. They sense that he knows more than he lets on. They feel exposed around him but can't explain why. That's because he doesn't use knowledge for show. He holds it like a hidden weapon. This ability isn't about being cold or manipulative. It's about survival. Sigma males don't trust easily. They've learned that people reveal their true selves in subtle ways, and by staying quiet, they see more. The less they speak, the more you reveal. The less they react, the more you unravel. And that's exactly how they like it. By the time most people realize how much the Sigma knows, it's too late. The cracks they tried to hide have already been mapped. And the Sigma? He's already decided what to do with them, whether he ever tells you or not. Number 5. They view morality as optional code. Sigma males don't see morality the way most people do. They understand that what society calls right or wrong often depends on culture, time, perspective, or convenience. One generation praises something, the next condemns it. What's sacred in one country is scandalous in another. Sigma males see through that. They know morality isn't fixed truth. It's often a tool used to control behavior, keep order, or protect image. So, instead of blindly following it, they treat morality like a flexible system, something to be examined, not worshipped. That doesn't mean they're immoral. They're not reckless or dangerous. In fact, many of them live with strong principles. But those principles are internal. They're self-defined. They're not based on what society demands, but on what actually makes sense to them. If something is wrong, it's wrong because it violates their personal code, not because a crowd said so. This is why Sigma males can't be guilt-tripped into conformity. You can't shame them into behaving a certain way because their self-worth isn't tied to external approval. They don't do things just because it's what good people do. They do it if it aligns with their own logic and integrity, and if it doesn't, they'll walk away, even if it makes others uncomfortable. To them, ethics is not a compass, it's a costume most people wear to fit in. They've seen people preach kindness and act cruel. They've watched society punish honesty and reward fakery, so they don't play by that game. If they're respectful, it's not because they were told to be. It's because they've decided respect matters. If they break a rule, it's not rebellion. It's a calculated move based on their own judgment, not fear of judgment. Sigma males understand that many people use morality as performance, a show, a public mask to appear good, safe, or noble. Sigmas are more interested in being real than being seen as good. They'd rather be misunderstood but authentic than praised while living a lie. That's why people often find them hard to categorize. They don't fall neatly into hero or villain. They operate in a space that rejects those labels altogether. Because for the Sigma, morality isn't law, it's code. And code can be rewritten. Number 6. They can starve themselves of attention until they become ghosts. Sigma males are not wired for external validation. They don't need eyes on them, applause, or constant reassurance to feel alive. In fact, they often thrive in complete invisibility. While most people depend on being seen, liked, or acknowledged to confirm their worth, the Sigma male is the exact opposite. His self-worth doesn't feed on attention. It functions in complete isolation. The less the world notices him, the more powerful he becomes. If the room goes silent, if the messages stop coming, if no one checks in, he doesn't panic. He doesn't spiral. He finds peace. Most people interpret being ignored as rejection. A Sigma interprets it as freedom. It is not loneliness for him. It is clarity. In that silence, he can recalibrate, create, and think without interference. He doesn't shrink without attention. He sharpens. This is why he is so difficult to control. You can't threaten to withhold love, praise, or recognition, because none of those things were his fuel to begin with. If anything, too much attention feels intrusive to him. He will not compete for space in conversations. He will not beg to be noticed. And if the spotlight falls on him, he may step aside altogether, not because he is insecure, but because he sees no value in performing for validation. This self-contained mindset makes him immune to manipulation. Guilt trips, silent treatments, or emotional games do not land because you cannot starve someone of something they never craved. The Sigma has already trained himself to exist in a vacuum where praise is rare and recognition is irrelevant. Even on social platforms, where people post for likes and followers, the Sigma might vanish for weeks or forever and feel nothing about it. He could have 1 follower or 1,000,000, and his sense of identity would remain unchanged. He is driven by inner alignment, not outer applause. This is why when he disappears, he does it completely. No warning, no drama, just absence. And unlike others who leave hoping to be missed, the Sigma doesn't care if you notice. He can go months, even years, without being seen, and it only strengthens him. Because attention was never his oxygen, it was just background noise. And he learned early on how to breathe without it. Number 7, they don't heal, they upgrade. Sigma males don't sit in circles talking endlessly about their pain. They don't wear trauma like a badge or use it as an excuse. When something breaks them, they don't wait to be rescued. They go inward, quietly and ruthlessly, and start tearing it apart, piece by piece. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me, and they ask, what system failed? Then they rebuild it stronger, colder, and more efficient. For most people, healing is emotional. It involves release, expression, forgiveness, and closure. For a Sigma, it's strategic. Pain is treated like a virus in the code. It's identified, isolated, and rewritten. Not to ignore it, but to prevent it from ever infecting their decisions again. They don't need comfort, they need clarity. They don't chase emotional balance. They install emotional firewalls. That's what makes them so different. They don't try to return to who they were before the pain. That version is gone. Dead. They become someone else entirely. Someone smarter, harder, more aware. Every scar becomes a line of code in a new operating system. Every betrayal becomes a data point in their risk analysis. Every heartbreak becomes a filter they apply to future connections. This doesn't mean they're numb. They still feel deeply. But they don't let feelings govern their steps. They use pain to create mental armor. Once burned, they don't just avoid the fire. They build flame-resistant strategy into their next move. You won't see them repeat lessons. They don't cycle, they upgrade. This is why people who hurt a Sigma often feel like they're dealing with a completely different person the next time around. He may still be calm, he may still be polite, but the access? Gone. The softness? Replaced. The part of him that was open? Rewritten with locked gates and motion sensors. You'll never see a Sigma spiraling over the same wound twice. Not because he's healed in the traditional sense, but because he's restructured. What once was a soft spot is now a hard rule. What once triggered him now trains him. The pain didn't make him bitter. It made him exact. And if you ever wonder where the old version of him went, the one who felt more, gave more, trusted more, just know this. He didn't disappear. He was replaced. Number 8, they don't seek revenge, they architect it. Sigma males don't lash out. They don't scream, argue, or post cryptic quotes when someone wrongs them. They don't react in the heat of the moment because they know that emotional reactions give away power. Instead, they retreat into silence. But that silence is not surrender. It is analysis. It is recalibration. It is the quiet before a shift that no one sees coming. When betrayal happens, the Sigma doesn't plot revenge like a villain in a movie. He studies it. He watches who supported it, who stayed silent, and who exposed themselves through their actions. He lets the situation breathe, unfold, and decay on its own. Time becomes his ally. While others expect drama, he gives nothing, no energy, no anger, just distance. But behind that distance he is rebuilding. He does not forget. He does not forgive quickly, and he definitely does not lose focus. What he does instead is upgrade his strategy. He lets the other person believe they got away with it. He lets them become comfortable again, relaxed, vulnerable. And when the moment is right, he returns, but not with drama, with decisions, with results, with precise actions that reshape the entire playing field. That is the difference. Sigma males do not seek revenge for emotional release. They do it for correction, to close the loop, to realign the balance. And often their revenge doesn't look like revenge. It looks like success. It looks like outgrowing the person who tried to break them. It looks like moving forward so powerfully that the other person becomes irrelevant. But if the betrayal was calculated and harmful enough, the Sigma might respond in a more direct way, not with chaos, but with consequences. He knows where it hurts. He knows what to expose. He knows how to shift outcomes without raising his voice. And when he strikes, it is clean, quiet, and permanent. No warnings, no second chances. Just a change in status that cannot be undone. People underestimate him because he seems detached. But that detachment is where the danger lies. A Sigma male can carry a betrayal in his mind for years and still smile at you, still shake your hand, still wait. Until one day, everything shifts, not through emotion, through execution. Number 9. Their mind has a kill switch for emotions. Sigma males are capable of feeling deeply, far more deeply than they often let on. But unlike most people, they don't allow emotions to take the wheel. They've developed something rare, almost unnatural in today's emotionally driven world, a kill switch. When feelings start clouding their judgment, when emotions begin to distort reality or threaten their control, they don't spiral. They shut it all down, instantly, silently, completely. This isn't emotional repression, it's emotional command. The Sigma male has trained himself to recognize the moment when emotion crosses from useful signal to dangerous interference. And when that line is crossed, he doesn't argue with himself. He doesn't overanalyze. He pulls the plug, like closing an app that's draining too much battery. He exits the emotional program and shifts into a colder, more calculated mode. This is how he navigates conflict, heartbreak, betrayal, and pressure without collapsing. When most people are overwhelmed by their feelings, begging for closure, reacting impulsively, or drowning in confusion, the Sigma becomes surgical. He doesn't detach because he does not feel. He detaches because he refuses to let feelings steer him into weakness. This internal override isn't built overnight. It's developed through experience, through losses that taught him emotional exposure can be a liability if it's not managed with discipline. So now, when someone pushes his buttons, he might pause, but he doesn't explode. When someone tries to manipulate him with guilt or drama, he doesn't take the bait. He observes. He adjusts, and when necessary, he flips the switch. You'll know it's happened when his tone flattens, when his face goes still, when you feel like you're no longer talking to a person fueled by emotion, but a mind running on pure logic. He still hears you, he still understands, but he's already moved beyond feeling. He's in strategy mode now, and once he's there, you won't find a trace of the softness that was there before. This is why so many people feel unsettled around Sigma males. They mistake calm for warmth until that calm turns cold. They think emotional control means indifference, when in fact it's mastery. The Sigma doesn't suppress emotion to feel less. He controls emotion to operate better. No panic, no breakdown, just quiet execution. Number 10, they speak last but decide first. Sigma males are rarely the first to speak, especially in group settings or emotionally charged situations. While others rush to fill silence with opinions, reactions, or attempts to impress, the Sigma holds back, not because he is shy or uncertain, but because he is watching. He listens carefully. He studies tone, body language, contradictions, and gaps. Every word people say gives him data. Every emotional outburst gives him advantage. While the room talks, he calculates. But here's the twist. He often makes up his mind early. He sees the truth behind the noise quickly, sometimes within the first few moments. He understands the dynamic, spots the real intentions, and quietly forms his decision. But he doesn't share it right away, because speaking too soon means showing your cards. And the Sigma never reveals his position until the moment is right. When he finally speaks, it's not for validation or participation, it's for impact. His words don't come from impulse or pressure, they come from precision. He says what needs to be said, nothing more. And when he does speak, people listen, not because he's loud or dominant, but because his silence built tension. His quiet created weight. So when he finally opens his mouth, every word feels deliberate, measured, sharp. This is what makes Sigma males feel intimidating to some people. You don't know what they're thinking. You can't tell if they agree or disagree. You're not sure if they're judging or just observing. That mystery alone makes others uncomfortable. And that discomfort is power. Sigma males have no interest in arguing for attention. They don't speak to be heard. They speak to move things. Their words aren't emotional release. They're tools, weapons, strategies. And often, once they've said what they needed to say, they return to silence. Because for them, talking is not connection. It's calculation. This ability to delay expression and master observation gives the Sigma a serious edge. While others expose themselves through constant talking, the Sigma is collecting every detail in silence. He's already decided who is real and who is performing. He knows what's worth responding to and what should be ignored. And when he finally enters the conversation, it's not to join the noise, it's to end it cleanly, quietly, without wasting a single syllable. Number 11. They create inner worlds. So rich, reality feels like a downgrade. Sigma males live in a world that most people will never see because it exists entirely inside their minds. Their inner world is not just a place of escape. It is a place of design, creation, analysis, and expansion. While others are constantly chasing distractions to avoid boredom, the Sigma male finds peace in solitude. In that solitude, his mind becomes a fortress, a playground, a laboratory, a war room. He doesn't need constant interaction or stimulation to feel alive. He can sit in a room for hours without speaking, without moving much, and still be completely engaged. Because inside his head, there are layers of thoughts unfolding, ideas connecting, scenarios being tested, plans being formed. His imagination is not random, it is structured and intense. It is filled with systems, symbols, patterns, and philosophies that help him make sense of the outside world. This is why the Sigma can often seem distant, detached, or hard to read. People think he is zoning out, but he is zoning in, on something far deeper than surface conversations or daily routines. He can be in a crowded room but mentally building an entirely different reality, one where he is in control, where everything makes sense, and where every idea leads to another door. To him, external reality often feels like a downgrade. It moves too slow. It repeats too much. The conversations feel shallow. The goals feel artificial. The expectations feel like chains. So instead of trying to force himself into a world that bores him, he builds a more compelling one inside. And in that world he is not limited by rules, norms, or opinions. He is free. This inner richness is why Sigmas are often so creative, strategic, and self-sufficient. They do not rely on others to entertain or complete them. They draw power from within. And when they do choose to engage with reality, it is on their terms, with a purpose. Not because they need to, but because they decide to. Most people cannot handle that level of inner depth. They are addicted to noise. The Sigma is addicted to silence because silence is where his inner world becomes loud. And in that world he is not escaping life. He is mastering it from the inside out. Number 12. They observe obsession like scientists, not lovers. Sigma males approach obsession differently than most people. While others get swept up in the rush of emotions, they stand back and study it like a scientist examining a volatile substance. Even when they fall for someone, they do not lose themselves. They remain fully aware, fully alert, watching everything unfold with sharp mental precision. They pay close attention to how people behave when they think they have power, how someone responds to praise, how they act when they are ignored, how they shift when they sense control slipping from their hands. Every silence, every delay, every exaggerated reaction is data. To most, it might seem like the Sigma is deeply invested emotionally, but behind the scenes, he is also keeping score. In relationships, this gives him an edge. While others are reacting to every emotion, the Sigma is observing the entire pattern. He notices the change in tone when someone feels insecure. He registers the hidden motive behind certain questions. He even tracks the timing of messages, not just the words, but the gaps, the frequency, the rhythm of interest and detachment. Nothing is random to him. Every move is part of a behavioral code he is silently decoding. This does not mean he is heartless or manipulative. He can care deeply, he can desire intensely, but his emotions never blind him. In fact, the stronger the attraction, the more focused his observation becomes. He wants to know, is this person real? Is this a performance? How do they react to power, attention, distance? These are the questions running through his mind even when he is caught up in affection. Most people in love give away their power without a second thought. The Sigma never does. He can be romantic, attentive, even vulnerable, but he never stops analyzing, because to him, obsession is not something to drown in. It is something to understand, to master, to control. This is why so many people find him hard to read in love. He can be close yet distant, intense yet composed. That duality confuses people who are used to emotional chaos. But for the Sigma, love does not mean losing clarity. It means observing everything more closely, especially when emotions are high. Because while others fall blindly, the Sigma falls with his eyes wide open. A world obsessed with noise, speed, and validation, the Sigma male moves in silence, unrushed, unshaken, and undetected. He doesn't need a throne to rule or a crowd to prove his worth. He builds quietly, calculates relentlessly, and evolves constantly. Every rule he lives by is not meant to impress, but to protect, sharpen, and elevate. He doesn't shout his value, he becomes it. He doesn't beg for space. He owns it without asking. And while others are distracted by the spotlight, the Sigma is focused on legacy. These secret rules are not tricks. They're truths, hard truths, built through isolation, pain, observation, and relentless self-mastery. If you understand them, you'll see why Sigma males aren't part of the system. They're the anomaly that exposes it. So, whether you are a Sigma, no one, or are just beginning to wake up to this rare mindset, remember this: power doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just watches, waits, and then rewrites the game in silence. That is the Sigma way, and it doesn't just change the room, it changes the rules of reality. This hit different if it peeled back layers you didn't even know existed. Don't just scroll away. Subscribe to the channel and join a rare kind of tribe that sees through the noise and lives beyond the surface. Like the video if you value truth over trends. Drop a comment below, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to add your voice to the storm. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it, quietly or loudly. Just make sure it reaches them. Because around here, we don't chase the spotlight. We build in silence and let the impact speak for itself. Welcome to the Sigma frequency. Stay sharp, stay rare, stay untouchable.